Hi, everybody, and welcome to Global Badass Goddess. Today, we're speaking with Gina Bria, and she is an anthropologist and founder of Hydration Foundation, recognized as the leading resource of hydration, science, and education. She has been named a real-world scholar and is a co-author with Dr. Dana Cohen, MD of Quench, your 5-day plan to optimal hydration, which is recommended by the New York Times, Oprah, O Magazine, NPR, and many other media sources who recognize how she's been changing the conversation of hydration, making it easier for all of us. So welcome, Gina. Thank you.
Let's change the conversation, Glenda, right now.
Okay.
It's not 8 glasses a day. It is not 8 glasses a day. Let's get out of that terrible myth.
Were you like, that's one of my questions. I love it.
It's everybody's question.
Right? It's not 8
right.
glasses. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. And I wanted to say right away, you just had your summit in February and March, and that was amazing. I had no idea, and I'm so glad I was introduced to you. You had people ranging from like Dr. Zach Bush to Dr. Gerald Pollack to the scientist Dr. Roland McCarthy from HeartMath. That's just to name a few. It was extraordinary. How was it? How did it go? Are you going to do another one?
Glenda, I'm very, very excited to announce right here on your program that it wasn't a was. It is and is.
Oh.
We left it posted through this liminal pandemic that we're living through, because why would we take down some of the most important and innovative information on coping with immune enhancement? Hydration actually runs the entire immune system at every point. And we have recipes and coaching. Why would we take that down? We were so excited to say, wow, let's extend this until we're all through this season together. So, it's still up, and you can find it at hydrationfoundation.org. It's the first page that pops up. It's all free, all online, 30 interviews with 30 different ways to hydrate, then guzzling all of that water. So
amazing.
Very excited to share that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I wish I would have known or come or whatever at the time. So I was just introduced to you not too long ago. So and I support that. I support whatever you're up to. So, whatever you need, I'm there, and I really feel like
thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess what I saw this little comment. It says, real hydration is how you drink, eat, and move. Mm-hmm. And I understand that on a particular level, but I'd love for you to talk about the holistic aspect of water and how that works. And I also want to know more about your product and how it's sustainable farming. So please, I'll let you go ahead.
Oh boy, you've got the whole story. You're holding the whole story. So I am very committed. I've been selected by the universe through no fault of my own. I just have been to fix the water issues for all of us. So I'm about to divulge information that's been a great, great gift and put together at a lot of cost so that your audience doesn't have to do that. First and most important thing I want to say is, to be a goddess, you have to be hydrated. You are just a water being. We are water beings.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you more about that in a minute, because it turns out it's way more complicated and exciting and mysterious and delightful than we ever thought. But the problem with hydration today is that we're mostly getting hydrated from our taps or our bottled water, and we've got locked in this idea that hydration comes in liquid form. Mm-hmm. And the big breakthrough, the big science breakthrough that's happened in my lifetime that I get to share is that water has an additional phase that we've just identified. It's always been there. We just didn't know how to look for it.
Okay.
And that is a liquid crystalline stage. It's a more jelly-like, and it's a little bit more viscous than liquid. So it's only 10% more liquid than liquid is. It's only 10% more viscous, But once it gets into that range, it starts operating differently than water in liquid form. And the way it operates differently is as the molecules get closer together, they start sharing electrons, and the water turns on as a battery.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
So we are drinking water from bottles in our tap that has no voltage in it or very little.
Yeah.
Once we get that water shifted into just that tiny shift, and then that shift makes all the difference in our vitality, in our energy, in our aging, in our cognitive power, in our ability to occupy altered states of consciousness that are much higher, brain function, detoxification. At every point, the change is now shifted, and we are, what I want to alert our goddesses to is that if you aren't in touch with that kind of water, it's inevitable you will be fatigued and low function. You'll struggle with mood. You'll struggle with a sense of motivation, and your body won't heal well, and you will age more quickly. Yeah. So we've got to know what we're drinking. Yeah. The eating part of the drink, eat, move is that this kind of water that I'm talking about, that's in this slightly jelly-like or more concentrated form. Yeah. This is the most prominent form of water on the planet. It isn't scarce. It's actually everywhere. And it's in every living thing. All cells contain this kind of water, and especially plant cells. So when we are eating a lot of a high plant diet, we are getting beautifully hydrated with high voltage water. Wow. Because all that liquid. Whoa.
Well, and from what I understand is that, if you drink too much, you can damage your liver and kidneys. That's my understanding. So it just never seemed right. Like, I've got to calculate, I've got to do 12 glasses of water today. It's like, and sometimes when I drink, I'm like, when I taste it doesn't feel like I'm being hydrated.
Well, what lioness in nature, what kangaroo is calculating their body weight and figuring, come on, how did we get so science numerically oriented that we missed the actual truth, which is where science should land? Yeah. So eating your hydration is a way that nature has packaged beautifully nutrition and hydration at the same time. So if you think of a juicy apple, you've got the whole concept right there. That water has been drawn minerals up from the ground through the tree roots. It's produced photosynthesis and stored electrical energy from the sun, and you can just go pluck that, and it's a great water bottle. It's just the best one on the planet. So we need to, because I'm an anthropologist and I've had to look at a lot of different ways that people get hydrated around the world, I was very quickly able to move out of this idea that water only comes in liquid form. Gotcha. It really is packaged beautifully in foods. Yeah. And once we get that secret, we are going to change the way we operate our body systems. So first of all, it's just like getting your cell phone charged. It's a huge voltage difference. And then the nutrition part comes in and is better bioavailable because you've got water right there, dissolving the bioavailable molecules of nutrition to actually get absorbed into your system. And, when you overdrink from that bottle or tap, if you're having so much liquid, what that liquid is incoming has no voltage, and it's diluting the voltage you have inside of you already. So you end up feeling less energized and actually dehydrated because you're diluting the effects inside of you that your body's trying to get up and running. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. That kind of puts the whole picture to what I was experiencing. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you do drink a lot of water or you feel you must drink a lot of water, I do really recommend that you add charge to your water.
Right.
And it's so simple how you can do that, Glenda. It is so simple. I mean, nature is just brilliant and smart and loves us. So you can add a pinch of sea salt to your water bottle.
Okay.
And that will start an electrical charge in the water.
Wow.
And you will notice you do not need to drink as much.
Yeah, totally.
And I have all the studies. If you want to come to my website, I can cite till the day is done all the clinical studies which show a little bit of sodium in your water. It won't affect a low sodium diet. In fact, I think the work I did showed that the research I did on this is a pinch of salt is under 400 grams of sodium. Gotcha. So if you're on a low sodium diet, you can get away with 4 or 5 glasses of water with salt in them.
Great. And
still not come near the amount. I think 1,500 is the low end, 2,800 milligrams of sodium is the high level for a low sodium diet. So you're still in a beautiful range. And what that does, you're basically making a very diluted saline solution, which is what they use when you go to the hospital.
So true. Right?
Why go there?
Yeah.
Don't get to that point. They're not going to stick an IV in any of you now.
No.
You've got the great trick. You've got the great trick.
So sea salt, just
a literal pinch between your fingers. And you're not going for making it salty. You're going for making the water change will taste you slightly silkier.
Yeah.
You'll notice.
Yeah.
And maybe even a slight sweetness.
Okay.
This is your taste telling your water has changed the molecular structure, and even animals will go for this kind of water because they recognize the difference.
Interesting.
So very powerful stuff.
I noticed that for me, like I've had to help myself drink, I would put in my water a cap of lemon juice and a cap of apple cider vinegar, and then I drink my water.
Yes. So I'm going to say it in a very short way that will stick in your audience's memory, but never drink a naked glass of water again. Gotcha. Don't do it. Always do something to your water. Squeeze of lemon, capful of apple cider vinegar.
Right.
Throw in a slice of cucumber or a slice of apple. Stir it with a celery stick. Find a sprig of rosemary and plop it in there. Those botanical agents also talk to the water molecule, and they start this electrical conversation. Beautiful. It's just very exciting. It's beautiful. Nature is talking to itself and each other all the time through the medium of water. Gotcha. So when we drink, I'm going to say it in this way, I think it'll make sense now. When we drink sterilized water, which means not good, bad, when we drink water that isn't able to touch anything because we've purified it so much,
right?
Or if you're drinking distilled water, that's purified so much that the water isn't talking to anything.
Right.
Or you're drinking water that's been chemically washed through water treatment plants and your tap, or it's been pressurized through pipes and the organization of the molecule has been broken up. All of those stages. So our job now, I'm sorry to do this to you, but because you're listening to me, this is going to happen. You now have become part of the generation, us together on this program, to help return water to its natural state.
Love it.
This is our work. Our work is really to be women together around the world, recovering water's life force, its energetic, electrical properties that we've interfered with through the way we've treated water, and now we're going to recover that. Now that we know.
To me,
whenever you put a little bit of salt in your water, you're helping it recover in your body, but you're also helping it recover on the planet. Powerful stuff.
It's like the blood of the planet. So
yes, that's what the Algonquins say.
Oh, really?
Well, every native tradition will say water is the lifeblood of all living things, and it is true.
That makes sense, just because the trees are our lungs. So I get that. So my question is, how did you decide water and hydration? Like, how did you come to this?
Well, again, I want to share that I got selected by the planet, by the powers that be. So I'm here on your behalf and to give you this information so that it comes to us in a new form, which is the science language, which helps people accept it more. Now, I'm also coming from indigenous traditions that didn't need the language of science. They knew it in another form of truthfulness.
Gotcha.
So we can appeal to either side, but it's our age now is moving these conversations into one room together now. So I'm trying to help scientists and physicians especially, but everybody understand that we are 99% water by molecular count. And if we look at it from that lens, the role of water in our health and our longevity and our vitality is the most important aspect of us. And why I want that to land is because I'm also speaking as an anthropologist, looking at our environments and recognizing that the modern environment that we live in, we're on this screen right now. You can't get more, extraordinary than that.
Right.
These are very, very dehydrating environments that we occupy every day. Yeah. They're not normal. Yeah. And yet we are still drinking as if we live in a easy vapor life, an outdoor life with lots of trees sending down their vapor on us, and we're getting ground electrical energy from our barefoot walk, or all of these things have to be recaptured and brought back into our lives in ways that make sense. And the big ticker was, so I'm saying now, because of the environments that we live in, as an ethnographer, actually, looking at how many dry walls, how many couches, how many carpets, how many electrical devices do you have, what air conditioner you need, what prescriptions. I mean, you just go down the list and you're like, it's shocking.
It is.
Every part of our modern life, whether it's getting in the car and commuting, or going to cubicles, or staying indoors during recess for our school children, putting people in hospitals to heal them. At every point, we are living biologically abnormal lives.
Yeah.
Biologically abnormal. You cannot run an animal system on where we live. So I'm looking for ways to help people compensate for that difference. We need to adapt. We're not going to get out of it anytime soon.
Right.
So what are the adaptations?
Yeah. So, one of the things that actually Sarah was sharing with me was that you have a unit that you can help with personal drinking use and also for sustainable farming. I mean, when I talk a little bit about that and how we can get that.
This matters to me so much, Glenda. This is like my big turn on right now. So here I am holding all this information about if we just shift the kind of water we use and we get it from other places than we think of, we are going to reignite all the ecology. And when I realized that 70% of the freshwater use on our planet goes to agriculture, I was like, well, that's where I'm going to have hydration impact, right?
Right.
So I became very interested in, well, how do people irrigate? And they're, of course, using tap water, water that's been pressurized through irrigation systems. In other words, they're breaking up the molecule too, right when the plants and the soils are at their most dehydrated. So I developed a project to simply change the water already being used, just shift it that 10%. And to do that, it's not hard at all. In fact, I copied indigenous traditions where they were increasing the voltage of the water they were using for their plantings. And an example of that would be the Mayans who would water their fields or their crops. They don't look quite like ours, so they're more circular in shape, but they would bring this water down the mountain. Well, now spinning down the water mountainside, that water's already got a lot of voltage because movement starts the voltage.
Gotcha.
But they would spin that, take the water coming down the mountainside and channel it across tile canals or tiled ceramic tiled gutters. Huh. And that the touching the minerals in the ceramics would increase the voltage.
Wow.
So There's tons of, or you use maybe more in the tropics. They bring their water, rainwater, also water that's moving, spinning. The drops spin as they fall to the earth. When they would hit the green banana leaves, they would then use the banana leaves to make channels. The biological materials in the plants, those cells would talk to the water coming down, and they would increase the voltage.
Wow.
So how do we do that in our modern irrigation systems? We saw that if we just got a simple funnel that spun the water just enough to tip it into that 10% difference, all we have to do is screw it on irrigation systems, just anywhere.
Did you guys check it out too to see that it was actually creating a voltage?
Yes, and we did all the field studies. So we looked at how much water was actually sinking into the ground, how much water was actually reigniting dehydrated soil microbes, how much those plants were drawing up new voltage because they were getting it from all the new microbes, and how much the contaminants in the soils were being gobbled up by the new microbes. Wow. So at every point, I know, now you know why I'm
totally
insanely excited about this. So what we've done is the Hydration Foundation. Of course, it's a nonprofit, but what we do is through the opportunity for people to hear the summit, they get all this hydration education with these 30 doctors that we interviewed, scientists, learning how to hydrate differently. And what we would do is say, well, why don't you give us $99? We'll give you the summit as a thank you. And then we'll buy these simple spin funnels directly and give them to farmers. So we're going to skip government agencies. We're going to skip, climate accord. Sorry, we just who do you know? Is there a farmer you know that you would like to send one of these spin funnels to? And we can get 3 acres done that way.
Wow.
We are not only about hydration in the human body. We're all talking now about hydration in Mother Earth's body. And that's where the real change can happen.
Yeah. Wow. That's phenomenal. So how far are you on that project? How far along? And what help do you need? What else do you need?
Love it. Great. Thank you. Yes. So we are trying to scale this project. So we're going to some larger foundations to get funding. And we want to show that we have enough people behind us that it's a demonstrable project. They get really picky. So far, we've only been able to cover about 1,800 acres. That's not bad for starting in February, and now it's, right at the beginning of June. Yeah. But we'd like to get more people involved who want to expand this program so that when we walk in to get these larger donors, so we can go do a region in India, or we can do the state of West Virginia. Right. We want to have enough of people who participated as a public interest.
Gotcha.
Why not have the public doing this? It shouldn't be just brands or foundations.
So how that looks is people can donate money, you guys.
Yes. $99.
$99, and then you can either for their own personal use, or that goes to a purchase for a farmer. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you take them to the farmer and say, hey, use this.
Yeah. And a lot of them are agnostic. They're like, well, talk to a farmer. These are not easy people. Right. But what's great is we're able to save their water bill. They get immediate economic benefit. Their water cost, which is one of their highest costs, goes down immediately. And so it's amazing. We're just holding this. We're holding our breath, Glenda, to make this go. So if you go to the Hydration Foundation and you see the summit page to register, then inside the summit is, first of all the interviews you're going to get, plus the donation page, which explains what we're doing, and then also an offer to buy a spin funnel with a discount, because they're a little bit expensive. They're around something like $379. This is very sophisticated technology made extremely simple. So they're just funnels that have ceramic balls, faceted balls inside of them, when the water comes in the top, it hits those balls and starts spinning in multiple directions. By the time it comes out the bottom, it's been charged. So that technology is long-lasting. It requires no filters, no electricity. It's really smart. And I am in other projects trying to get as many new people in the game of designing these funnels as possible. And we hope we'll eventually be able to bring the cost down. But I think there's a payment plan for like $100 a month. But this is a permanent solution to water. So we love being able to offer that. That's really important.
So, and that is that the cost for a personal, like if I wanted to go and buy one for my own drinking use, then it's $300 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love it because you can carry it around. Like literally, you can take it to a restaurant or you can pour your wine through it.
Oh my God,
or your coffee through it, right? But yeah, so I do have them, and I give them as gifts all the time. So they're important to me, and they're an important part of the solution for now. Right. And then for people who don't have that kind of funding, you really have to. I really care about where each person is standing in their own personal finances. So start with salt and sea salt.
Definitely.
Start using food as part of your hydrating strategy. And then we didn't get to the movement part, Glenda, because when you get the water in there, that charged water that actually has voltage, then you have to distribute it in your system.
Right.
So when you are able to realize that when you move and stretch, you're actually pulling hydration into places in your body that ignites their capacity for healing and for function. So it's very, we've got all our kids sitting in desks all day. Well, we don't now. Now they're sitting in front of Zoom screens, right?
Yeah, well, I've seen more outside, so that's good.
Me too. I've seen a lot of kids outside. But for us, in our life, knowing that movement is huge, and I'm not talking about exercise. I'm literally talking about just shifting your shoulders, nodding your head, fidgeting through the day.
Yeah.
This is actually, you are a fluid being, and you are working now on fluid dynamics. And why that gets even sexier, Glenda, are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's fluid dynamics, but it's water carrying information, digital information through your system. So when you move, you're actually igniting all sorts of conversations in your body between the molecules that it's coming into your tissues. And this is why the meridian channels are what they are. This all connects up now based on water being the medium for conducting electricity in the body.
Wow, that totally makes sense. I mean, once you dig into things like this, you start to really see how, food, movement, water, all this is part of a holistic, balanced, just a normal way of being that we actually, like you said, pulled ourselves away from.
Yeah.
Just based on the way we live now, security, whatever we think we're, having, So
we do not realize how dehydrated we are. And nobody is. So Dr. Zach Bush, when we had the interview with him, he came right out and said 100% of you are dehydrated. There isn't any way out of this ecology we're in. We're all dehydrated. So that's beautiful information, because now we can actually account for why we feel so deprived at the end of the day. Like our life feels so dissatisfying to us on so many levels. And if we just get that 10% information into our system, all sorts of changes start to ignite. And that's the really exciting part. Just like the soils and the microbes and the crops and the irrigation. Wow, we can accelerate all this really fast.
Yeah. So what is there a plan? I mean, who else are you working with right now? And is there a plan to just tell me what's happening.
The plan is to go after some really big funds.
Okay.
So pray for me, sisters. We want the Ford Foundation to be behind us.
Wow.
We want the Buckminster Fuller Institute to come alongside. We want to walk into rooms with the people at Google and the people who have made their IPO exits and are sitting on vast amounts of money that they really aren't. They're just sort of frittering away on. So what I really want us to hold together is water is the first scalable intervention for nature at every point, whether it's our personal health and our mood and our beauty. This is really important on the beauty front. And I'm not talking about gorgeous skin, although I am. I'm talking about radiating the beautiful mind that an optimally hydrated brain goes into. It's an altered state of consciousness.
Totally.
It's as powerful. Hydration is as powerful as mushrooms.
Oh, wow.
I'm saying that as an anthropologist. It's a daily level of cognitive electrical materials going on inside your brain that allow you to look out at your world with deeper appreciation. You scrape out the beauty of life and you recognize the miraculousness of it and yourself in a way you don't when you're shriveled.
Totally.
Yeah. Wow. And we're also, so another big project is we really, and I hope, Sarah and I hope we're going to help make this come into the world, but we want to create, and we're working on the plans with very high, beautiful artistry, to create a mobile water museum that travels all over the world inside of a Buckminster Fuller dome, a geodesic dome, that gives people who come into this an experience of water, a reverence. We're going to just raise everybody's frequency around what water really is, give them hydration education when they walk out, give them opportunities to be involved in hydration projects all over the world. And I just think it's a beautiful thing because it involves the arts. And so often the science and the arts and the health world all live in separate silos.
Yeah, which is weird, as usual.
So this is sort of a one-stop place where you come in. I think we could open the conversation a little bit around frequencies as well, because the water conducts the frequencies. So frequencies and, all the energy work that people do cannot happen without the water molecule carrying. It's literally the electrical wiring. So water is the medium that conducts the electricity that allows the energy to do what it does in all our energy healings and so forth. And so frequencies are very exciting to engage now because we understand if we get ourselves well hydrated and we let that water carry that information, frequency information, now we can begin to manipulate it and shape it so that it does more powerful work in our healing agency or our mood and our cognition, our relationships to each other, that cell-to-cell communication that's happening not just inside our body, but to other living cells, whether it's receiving plant talking to us, literally, like the indigenous already knew.
Yeah.
Or forest bathing now has new meaning because all that electrical signaling going on in an ecology is actually also, we receive that. And the better hydrated we are, the more alert we are to all this non-rational but deeply important information that gets transferred to us when we're outside.
Well, you can totally see how if one thing is out of balance, it just throws everything off, especially when it comes to, your own physicality. And if you're not hydrated, you're not well, you're not thinking properly.
Yeah.
You can't soak up anything.
Yes. And the point here being that if we are all in that position, and yet it's not a personal problem.
Sure.
And yet we ascribe it to ourselves as our personal despair. And why can't we move past? And why don't we heal? And so we take it as a personal problem that we somehow have to solve. This is a huge cultural problem. This is not your problem that you feel low energy or despairing or deprived of life somehow. This isn't your problem.
Right. And it could even, like, here's what I thought was interesting was it just kind of occurred to me that, maybe people, let's say you're getting misdiagnosed for something, and really, in essence, it's probably just dehydration. I mean, it could be, you know what I'm saying? I was just sitting back going, because how many diseases or things where people, oh, I'm really tired, I'm really this, oh, you've got chronic fatigue. It's like, well, maybe not.
Maybe there's an upstream solution.
Right.
A hydration solution. We certainly argued for that in the opening of Quench, the book that I wrote with a physician. So here I am, an anthropologist, we're waving this red flag. I can't get anybody in the medical community to pay attention to me. And I knew that I had to find a doctor to write a book with or it wouldn't happen. So I'm so grateful that I ended up finding an integrative physician right in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. When I walked into her office, I asked for time for her. I asked her, their office staff to give me some time with her. I walked in. This is a funny story, Glenda, because she thought I was a water machine saleswoman. A water like I was selling some kind of a office water gig or something. So I walk in and I'm trying to explain 10% difference in water, and I didn't know that she thought I was a salesman. So I'm just like, kind of setting the stage for what the science is. Please let me explain that there's some really new science that's come out. I'd love to share it with you and see if it would matter to you in some way and your community would be interested. I'm trying to do this quiet little dance, and she's sitting across from me going, when is she going to get to the pitch? What machine do I have to buy?
I love it.
So finally, at one point, she's like, so what do you do again? And I said, well, I'm an anthropologist. And she said, what? Why are you selling water machines?
That's great.
So then it wasn't very long, maybe another 5 minutes into the conversation, where she literally leaned across her desk, grabbed my hands and said, let's write a book together. Let's write the book together. And I'm like, what just happened? That's what this has been about all along. As again, when I say I've been selected, is extraordinary things. Then this book was reviewed by the New York Times, and it got on Oprah, and it's in 6 languages now. It's got 50 recipes for about what foods you can eat, and so again, all these things keep happening to me, which just assure me I'm being called. I'm on the right path. Keep going, sister. This is important work. Just keep going. So. Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to offer you a little something here. I'm Global Badass Goddess. We're preparing for a year retreat at the end of the year. I'm doing workshops, and I really just in this conversation, having the clarity around it, I really feel like it would be great to have you come in and maybe do a small portion of week retreat.
Yes, so we can do recipes and teach people how quickly they can become hydrated, what it feels like, what movements, what simple. I do most of my hydration movements in bed before I even get out of bed in the morning. How do you love that, right? So yes, and it's always meaningful to me to share this information into groups of women, because traditionally, in cultures around the world before we hit the industrial age, all cultures made women their water protectors.
Wow.
And when did you get that assignment? Like 3rd grade? Did anyone tell you as a woman you have a unique biological position that the planet has offered to be one of the caregivers of water?
No.
And where did that go?
Yeah, where did that go?
Yeah. So the opportunity to be together and activate our ability to protect water and know how we can take that into our daily lives is awesome.
And just just really support our consciousness and our body, mind, and body, mind, spirit. Because here's the thing with what I'm sharing and teaching women as an artist and a singer and a songwriter, I'm really helping women speak their truth, their voice, use their voice, be able to feel empowered and inspired in those ways. And it takes a lot of energy to even want to step into that or have the courage or the bravery to do that. So I think this would be a perfect match, for us working together some more down the road. And I'll definitely keep you up on that. But I have a couple more questions. I know we could probably talk all day about this. It's so awesome. I would love to know, if you were speaking to your younger self, what advice would you have for her?
Well, I have something very strong to say about that. Be spirit-led. Be spirit-led. You will be led if you let yourself be led. And that we do not have to do the work we think we have to. We're not driving our lives. We are receiving our lives. That's a very different direction. And that's incredibly liberating. Because as American women, we're told we have to go out there and drive the story of our lives. And we can do that, but there's a much bigger story available to us when we receive how we're supposed to proceed. When I walked into that doctor's office, I had no idea I was going to walk out with it. By the way, she knew all the top publishers. They were her patients. So we just took the book right to the top. It's like that, right? Could not have pulled that off. So receiving and believing how if we are given life, if life has selected us and we are alive, then we've been given a unique place to play in the circle of ecology and in our cohort and our world. So we're already valuable by virtue of our uniqueness. And if we don't offer our unique being into the circle can't be complete.
Yes.
It's not about personal achievement. It's about what we contribute to that life that we've been given at this moment in time. So I also believe we've been called, if you're here right now, life has selected you, and you also agreed somewhere, I don't know where, this is the time we are here for now. So don't despair or look at the world and go, wow, I'm in a dangerous time. I wish this was different. You've been called to speak into the circle now, because now is the moment when we need you. That's it. There isn't any other way to say this.
Brilliantly said. Right on the money. Yeah. So there's a couple last things. So I wanted to know, is there a mentor or a female figure that inspires you?
Rachel Carson, Silent Spring. In 1950, I think it was published. She wrote it in the 50s about, she noticed, so noticing is a huge part of being a woman. We notice. She noticed the birds were not singing as much in the spring. Then she noticed birds' eggshells were much thinner. Then she realized that the birds were the first canaries to experience pesticides.
Wow.
And she noticed that link. And she was considered as, the mother of current ecological consciousness. She just had her 50th year of the publication of that book. And she's not among us anymore in the physical form, but she's mattered to me deeply. And Margaret Mead, who is, I got to sit in her office and in her chair at Columbia, at the Union Seminary. Ruth Benedict, these were women anthropologists who just weren't going to go away. They just went and plodded along, and they did their work, and they didn't bitch, and they didn't moan, and they didn't say, why is everybody against me? They just said, oh, this is what I've noticed.
Yeah.
They just kept saying, this is what I've noticed. Extraordinary.
Very extraordinary.
Yeah. They're big people in my life.
I got it. Thank you for sharing that, because I'm going to definitely look them up. Mm-hmm. So with our last comment, I think I'd love to know from your goddess self, what piece of inspiration or information that you would like to leave us with?
You are 99% water. You are a living water body. You're a walking aquarium. That's fascinating. You can do a lot with that information.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gina, for taking the time to share this deep information and inspiration and inspiring us and empowering us to move forward and to support you also. So we just really say thank you from all of us goddesses out here. And we'll see you again. Hopefully we'll play with you. We're going to work towards that. It's in motion.
Yeah. And if questions come up around this conversation, I love responding and answering. We can talk again. So
and can they email you at Gina at Hydration Foundation?
Oh, please email me. I read all my emails. Gina, Gina, good Italian name, Gina at hydrationfoundation.org. And we rhymed it so it'd be easy to remember. So if you walk away from this, you'll be like, wait, it rhymes. So what was something?
There you go.
It works. It'll be in the show notes too. So.
Oh, great. Thank you, Glenda. That's beautiful.
Yeah. It'll be on YouTube. So. Great. Well, thank you so much, and I will reach back out to you. And we really appreciate your time, and bless you and blessings, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you for being our guest.
My great pleasure.
Bye for now.